welcome. Welcome to this talk on conflict. So the topic tonight is how to deal with conflict and create a harmonic life. Now the reason I've chosen this topic is because conflict is an area which a lot of people experience and don't know how to deal with it. Can you put your hand up if you relate to that? Yeah, can't relate to it? And a lot of people try to avoid it. But what you do by trying to avoid it, you actually create conflict inside of yourself. So you actually don't avoid it. And so what we're going to talk a lot tonight about is what really creates or what causes conflict, which you're going to be quite surprised what it is. So I'm going to uncover the big myths around conflict, which are really important. And they're going to tell you the big secret of what causes conflict, which you don't hear much anywhere, but what is the real underlying causing the conflict. And then we're going to give you some exercises and techniques of how you can learn from conflict and how you can stop creating it. Does that sound cool? So as Carmela said, is to have more peace. To have more peace, you've got to put the pieces of yourself together again.
I love it.
To have peace, you've got to stop creating conflict in your life. So we're going to look at the 3 essential things that you need to do to stop having conflict. Yeah, does that all sound pretty cool? Okay. So we're going to, as we normally do, we're going to use the play sheet questions that I've sent you. Yeah. If you haven't got them there with you, it's okay. I'll read them out anyway. So first question is, what does conflict mean to you? So if anyone wants to answer that question, put your hand up. Jade, we'll start with you, Jade. I'll unmute you.
So conflict to me, I've had externally. I think it's a difference of values and opinions between people, or a conflict of interest, which sometimes can be an aggressive disagreement or just some sort of opposing beliefs. Internally, it could be not aligning my behaviours to my true self or purpose. That way, it could, as you mentioned before, it creates inner conflict as well.
I think there needs to be a qualification on what you said. If people have a disagreement of opinions, does that necessarily create a conflict?
It can.
It can, but does it always?
It doesn't always, but it can sometimes, yeah.
So when will it, is the important question.
Yeah, if you react probably the wrong way to it.
Just get clear on that. Anyone else? But thanks for that. It's a good starting point, Jade. Does anybody else want to add to that? Carmela?
Okay, yeah. Expression of beliefs and values that may not be met can also mean about your boundaries, like what you feel your boundaries are and people not meeting that.
Just say that again. I just want to hear what you said again.
So expression of beliefs and values that may not be met and can also mean about boundaries.
So when you say they're not met, what does that mean?
Well, because I may think about something in a certain way or have a belief about it, and that person may not agree with me, it can sometimes cause conflict depending on what the relationship is.
So what is that important point? And that's similar. I agree. It's similar to what Jade said, but there's an important point here. I'll give an example, right? Let's say if I get on the tram in Melbourne, and let's say that someone gets on the tram wearing a mask, which I don't believe in, right? Now, they might believe they're wearing a mask, but if I get on the tram and I don't worry about them and accept them, is there a conflict? There's not. So the important thing I think you guys have got to add is when there's a lack of acceptance of those beliefs.
Correct.
Yeah. That's the important thing. Because if people accept them, there's no conflict. So in other words, there's some sort of energetic resistance to the belief.
Mhm.
And we're going to come talk a lot tonight about how people can resist. Does that make sense, Jade?
Yep.
Yep. Cool. Excellent. Do you want to add to that?
No, that does make sense. It's if the lack of acceptance, as you mentioned, if you're not bothered by other people's differing opinions, or you're not, you don't react to it because you accept it, then there's no conflict. So yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah. I think it's a really important thing to add in, because when I look at the dictionary actually didn't say that. It's just a disagreement. But I think it's about not accepting the disagreement, which reflects both of your comments, both Jade and Camilla. Yeah, is that cool? And we're going to talk a lot tonight about acceptance. Because if you accept someone's different, or if someone accepts you're different, even though they know that you believe something different, there is no conflict. But quite often the conflict is caused by we resist other people's beliefs, or they're not met with the way Camilla said it. So the next question, what has caused conflict in your life? Right, anyone want to start with that? Put your hand up. And remember, at any time, you can just type into the chat box if you want. So what causes conflict? You put your hand up if you want to talk.
Yeah, I just had more of an internal conflict. For me, what causes conflict is not listening to my intuition or behaviours that sort of don't align with with my purpose or what my true self. That sort of causes inner conflict and causes emotions like regret or guilt or anger and things such as that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's really close to it. Excellent. That's a good response. I like that. Yeah. Anybody else? Penny said, only conflict in my life is my domestically violent ex-partner. Now, this is one thing we're going to talk about tonight. One of the myths of conflict is never caused by the other person. We believe conflict's caused by other people, but it's not. We're going to come explain in a minute why. Because quite often what we do is we blame other people, don't we? I'll be okay if this person does this or says that or does that, right? That person doesn't judge me or something. Yeah. I like Janine's comment, conflict can be caused by a lack of understanding and miscommunication, which is a bit related to what Camilla said. It's around people misunderstand what you're saying or where you're coming from. So I'm going to talk about the three myths. These are what I see the three myths. One is that conflict is caused by the other person, that you're having conflict because someone's judging you, and it's actually not about the other person. It's not. Because when people judge you, that's coming from their own internal stuff. It's actually not relevant to you. And it could be a comment on Facebook, or they don't like your prices you're charging, or whatever. But when people judge you, it's actually really coming from their own internal stuff. So it's never about the other person. That's actually, if you blame other people for your conflict, I like the word blame. It's like be lame. You don't move. It's never about the other person. And this like what Jade said is really important. It's about in inner stuff, and we're going to come talk more about that in a minute. So the first myth is caused by other people. The second myth is it's about the content. Have you ever got into arguments and say, "Oh, you should be doing the dishes and not me," or something, right? And people start arguing about the content, but it's actually never about the content. It's not. There's an underlying agenda. We're going to come and talk about what that is, and it's a bit related to what Jade said. So it's never about the content. Penny, we'll come and talk about your point in a minute. Penny said about, what about the violence that you're saying? Are you saying that survivors of this have created that? And we'll talk about that in a minute. So judgment by others is always about them. It's never about you. So the important thing about what I want to get, what causes conflict, is that you've abandoned yourself. You've disconnected from who you are. And that's a bit related to what Jade said, right? You're not connected to your inner worth. Has anyone read the Celestine Prophecy? If you have not read this book, I suggest you read it. Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. A famous book. It's sold over millions of copies. It's actually written, it's an experiential book, but actually in it has a lot of deep spiritual insights. And one thing he talks about is a point I'm just about to tell you. If people disconnect from who they are, they disconnect from the source, right? Just fit into the world, you know, they've got self-worth issues. What they do is then people try and get the energy off other people. That's what they do. And people get into power struggles. Because if you're disconnected from the source, because you've disconnected from who you are, be what Jade said, right? If you're disconnected from who you are to fit into the world, to be accepted, in other words, you abandon yourself, then what's going to happen is you're going to fight people for energy. And that's what people do. So in all conflicts, people are trying to get energy. That's what it's all about. It's not about the content. It's about they're trying to get energy. So if people are fighting over the dishes, it's not about the dishes. It's about they're trying to get energy because they're disconnected. Because if you're totally connected to who you are, then you don't need to get energy from other people. And in his book, James Redfield calls these control dramas, you know, how we try and get energy off other people. And this relates a bit to what Penny's question about violence. See, it's about, you know, if people have low self-worth, they're going to attract people who are dominators. It's a control drama pattern. So in a sense, they're both creating that. Because remember that we all are responsible for our own creations. We are. Yeah. If you have low self-worth, you're going to probably attract narcissists into your space who are probably going to take advantage of you. But if you're in your own power and you're totally connected to who you are, you're not going to create those sort of conflicts. Yeah, does it make sense? So it's all about connecting to yourself. Now, why this is a big issue for a lot of healers, this is important, right? Why conflict is important for a lot of healers, especially like because you know, like Camilla's doing my healing course. Because a lot of healers have come to the world to change it. It's not just about healing people, it's about changing the whole world, right? Getting people to look at the world in a different way. So therefore, a lot of healers, they're quite different. They don't fit into the world, the normal consensus reality, right? And most of you can feel that. Put your hand up if you feel that you don't totally feel into the consensus reality. Now, if you come to the world to change it, then most people are going to resist you. Because what they see is that, but they're really resisting themselves. But but they're scared that if they allow you to share what you know with them, you can actually identify their underlying game and they've got to face their truth. So therefore people will resist you. And they might say, oh, I don't like your course because it's too expensive, or I don't like you because of that. And they'll try and make some reason why they can't communicate to you, or they'll try and control you, or whatever. But underlying it is they can feel that you know something and you might be able to identify their underlying game of the way they're hiding from themselves. And this is why conflict can be a big issue for people who are empaths, who are quite magical. because the world sees them as strange and weird and labels them, right? Can you all relate to that? Yeah. And that's why conflict happens. But what happens is that people tend to take on comments from other people, and they go, "Oh, there's just something wrong with me because someone's judging me." No, you've got to not listen to what people are saying about you because it's not about you. It's a famous comment. Whatever people say about you is none of your business. It's not. It's about them. Because I remember I woke up one day and I got this sudden light came to me. I think it came from an angel, Camilla. Right? And this angel sent me this message, and it suddenly woke me up. And I thought, oh my God, why do you want to listen to unconscious people? Why do you want to allow your life and how you live your life to be determined what unconscious people believe? It suddenly hit me one day, right? Because remember, the way people are talking to you is they're coming from their stuff. Yeah. And most people are unconscious. 90% of the world are unconscious, right? So, if I put a post on Facebook about how the coronavirus is a scam and there isn't really a crisis, then I get all these weird comments going, oh, it's not true and whatever. I said, no, go and look at the statistics. You know what I mean? Like at the moment, there's about 10 people in hospital in Australia with COVID-19. 10 people had 25 million. I wouldn't call that a crisis. So I just look at the statistics. So when you are a bit different, you got to be aware of that and be aware that people are probably going to resist you. And remember, that's what we talked about in conflict. People are probably going to resist what you believe. And that's why you can't necessarily go out and share whatever you believe to everybody, because everyone doesn't want to listen. Yeah, Camilla's laughing. It's true, isn't it, Camilla? Absolutely. And therefore, you've got to be aware of that. If you go and talk to scientists and all those sort of people about energy and energetic healing, they're going to say you're crazy. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? And it's just you've got to know how to communicate to people, and especially as a healer, you've got to know who your market is, who you want to attract into your space. That's really, really important. It's no use trying to force your opinions on the people. So when I express myself, if I feel that resistance, we talked about at the start, right? If people are resisting your beliefs, and they can do it energetically, they can just feel your energy that you're a bit different, yeah? Then if people are resisting you, don't try and share what you know to them, because they're just going to try and control you. Because I can tell you from my experience, all the people who get bullied at school are all the magical, empathic kids who are really highly aware. Because people are scared of them, they're threatened by them, because they know that these special people can see underneath their veil of their delusionary lifestyle. And I think this is important to understand around conflict. So getting back to the original point, it's all about inner conflict is caused by self-abandonment. That's the most important, which is related a bit what to you said, isn't it, Jade? It's about connecting to your self-worth. And when you know who you are as a person, when you know yourself as a person, then you find your self-worth in who you are. You know what a lot of people do, right? If you've abandoned yourself, quite often what you do in your relationships with people is what you do is you try and control. And I've really discovered this myself in the last couple of weeks, right? Because quite often what we try and do is we try and control what other people how other people treat us. Yeah, but that's control. Because, for instance, you might want to say, oh, you can't say that to me, or you can't do that to me. But that's actually control. No, you can't control other people. You can't. Because if you try and control other people, that's going to cause conflict. Because people don't like being controlled, do they? So quite often, if you don't love yourself, the important point I'm getting, if you don't love yourself, quite often you look for what you're not giving yourself in other people. So you look for approval, or you look for love, or you look for caring. And in your communications, you have this controlling behavior to try and get these needs met because you're not giving it to yourself. But then what people do is they blame other people when they don't give it to them. Does that make sense? So the ultimate thing about under conflict is you've got to connect to yourself and you've got to love yourself. That's the most important thing. So, any comments on that? Anybody want to make some comments? Kamala, what would you like to say?
It definitely makes a lot more sense to me now.
Yeah.
About the conflict and why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that mean for you in your life? Explain what that means.
It's for me, it's about acceptance. For me, accepting who I am and where I fit in the world here now.
Yeah.
And my mission is, and how am I going to help people?
Yeah.
Because I've experienced people attacking me and I've been down that path. So everything that you're saying is very relevant tonight. Yeah.
Because in a way, I can even summarize it another way. Okay, you all understand the law of attraction. If you're creating conflict in your outer world, in other words, in your interactions with other people, that must say, based on the law of attraction, that you've got inner conflict. It must. Because if you realize that if the only way that we can have war in the world is if people have got inner conflict. So anybody who's got inner conflict, they're putting that into the collective consciousness, which actually will then might come out as war. So if you want to stop war in the world, create inner peace inside yourself. That's really important. You can only have conflict in your outer world, your interactions with other people, if you've got inner conflict. And the inner conflict is only because you're not in harmony with who you are. Which is what Jade said at the start, right? And that how do you get that inner harmony? Well, you connect to who you are, and you love who you are, you care for who you are, and of course that means you've got to let go of, if you're resisting your inner child, if you've got a wounded child that you're not looking at, a wounded inner child that you're not caring for, that's going to create conflict. Jade, come back to us about given what you said before. How does that relate to what you said?
Yeah. Well, it does, definitely. As you just said, inner creates outer. And I think, well, for me personally, a lot of conflicts, it starts within, as you said. So if you can align with who you are and not have that inner conflict, or at least be aware of things that create that inner conflict, then the relationships with others and the external world will fall in place as well. So it definitely makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah, cool. So I want to ask Penny. Penny, how does that relate to your comment around violence?
Look, it's interesting. Certainly back then, that's what I created. I agree with you in that I didn't have that self-worth, and I did attract someone who I would consider to have narcissistic personality disorder, having a Bachelor of Psychology. But like I said, it's not effective for me to diagnose someone else anyway. It's not ethical.
Yeah.
However, I believe that I created that, having low self-worth and a wounded inner child. And I've managed to do a lot of inner work and heal that, so I don't have those in my day-to-day life. But this particular person still keeps on hanging on, even when I completely ignore them. So I'm sort of at that point where I think, okay, well, I've healed this self-worth and I'm quite happy and comfortable with who I am. There's no inner conflict with me. I've accepted myself warts and all, and what I need in life. So I don't know, where do you go from there? Because obviously energetically there's still something there for them to try and keep on hanging on, or maybe it's just that they're still,
because maybe there's something for them to learn. But if what you've said is that you've actually got your inner peace inside of yourself, then that's the most important thing. Because remember, we can't control other people.
No, that's right.
And other people might try and latch onto us because they feel, they still want to get your energy, or they still feel there's something they can get. But the important thing is, if you're in your power and feel your self-worth, then they can't control you or get your energy in any way.
That's right. And I've definitely stepped into my power, and I'm just getting the police to handle them every single time now instead.
Cool. Absolutely.
Which I wouldn't have done 6 years ago. But yeah, I wonder if maybe I need to do a bit more.
Well, we're going to talk about some strategies in a minute, so that'll be interesting to see whether they might be useful for you.
Yeah, thank you.
But cool. Thanks for sharing that. That's really cool. I love the outfit, by the way, too, Penny. I think that's very harmonic, I've got to say. Very, very harmonic with your inner child. I love it. Anybody else want to make any comments about what's caused conflict in their life? Okay, so let's look at question 3 about what impacts does conflict have on us. So, Selena, you've been quiet tonight. Why don't you come and say, how do you feel conflict impacts you in your life? Selena, if you can that's it, cool.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, what was the question?
Question is, what have been the impacts of conflict on your quality of life? How does conflict impact your life?
Yeah, sure. I find that it's a lot to do with like, I guess, when people react rather than respond.
Yeah.
And when people aren't accepting, or like if people are, I liked what I think you said before around if people are in non-acceptance or and also non-judgmental as well. Yeah,
but the important point is, how does this impact you in your life? That's the important question. You sort of told us what it is, but how does it impact your life? Well, let's go to somebody else. Or do you want to say something on that, Selena?
I think it's around choosing the people who are close to you in your life, so that they're people who are harmonious people, not people that are angry people or who can't communicate, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. So let's look at the impact. I want to talk about the impact. How does that actually impact if you do have conflict in your life? Penny, I'll just unmute you.
I know in my previous situation that it actually impacted my health in a very significant fashion, and I've managed to get all of those autoimmune conditions into remission, but I had significant chronic illnesses to deal with every day that really impacted my quality of life, and that was because of holding on to the conflict and the judgment and the, I must be such a horrible person if this person's saying that about me, and you hold on to it, and then you've got the inflammation markers and your body just goes crazy, right? So life, loss of sleep, loss of appetite, health, you lose everything basically. It can get to that point where it gets that bad.
Yeah. So let's explain to help what Penny's saying is, let's just go through all the chakras and I'll tell you how it's going to impact you, right? If you abandon yourself, you're going to be disconnected from your top chakra. So your crown chakra is going to be out, right? You're going to think a lot and worry a lot. So that's going to block your third eye. and your intuition isn't going to be as strong, which is what Jade mentioned that before, right? If you actually got low self-worth and you judge yourself, a bit like what Penny just said, then you're going to block your heart chakra, right? You know, if you take on people's judgments like, I'm not good enough, is there something wrong with me, right? That's going to block your heart. Heart's all about self-love, right? If you go down to your power chakra, right, your stomach, well, you're going to feel very disempowered if you feel other people are controlling you. So your whole power chakra is going to be out. Yeah. Now, if you're not connected to who you are, your sacral chakra is going to be out. Yeah, which is your second chakra. Because you can't really create if you're not really totally connected to who you are. You're not going to create as well, right? And then your base chakra is going to be out too, because you're not going to be that connected to the earth because you're not totally here. You're not bringing your whole essence into your body. So Penny is right. It's going to affect every part of your body very significantly. Oh, the other chakra I didn't mention is your throat chakra. Because quite often if you've got conflict, you might try and avoid it by not speaking up. So you tend to block saying your truth. You know, especially if you feel that what you're going to say is revolutionary and people won't accept it. You tend to not express it, right? But if you look at the world right now, it's really important we've got to express our truth because humanity's in crisis. You know what I mean? It is really important you've got to speak your truth, but you've got to do it not in a controlling fashion where you're trying to get something from other people. Like we talked about before, trying to get something from other people because you're not giving it to yourself. But also there's a lot of emotions around it as well. You know, generally if you've got conflict, generally it creates a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of sadness, right? A lot of helplessness, hopelessness, depression, right? You know, you feel your life's out of control if you don't know how to deal with conflict. So it can have a lot of major impacts on your body, right? And of course, if you've got issues around conflict, you're probably not going to create relationships because you've got issues around intimacy. Because you don't totally connect to your own self-worth, then you're probably going to look for love in your relationships, which never works. Yeah. So it's going to have major impacts on you. Because in a way, there's three ways that people react to conflict. When I say react, this is what Selena said before. It's not respond. We're going to talk about responding in a minute from your essence. It's about how you react. There's generally three ways people react. They all start with F. You've probably heard of these three. Okay, so these are the three ways people react. They fight, flight, or freeze. So what do we mean by that? If you look at fight, people get angry, they blame, they be aggressive, they attack, they threaten, right? They bully, they abuse, they defend. They're all very aggressive ways. And again, as we said before, that's all about fighting for energy. If people get in two attacks fighting each other, it's actually fighting for energy. That's what it's all about. It's never about the content. It's not. It's about energy. They're trying to get, and whoever wins the fight gets the energy in the short run. But it's only a short run thing because they've got to keep doing it to get the energy because they're disconnected from the source. Yeah. And not many people talk about this, but the important thing is you've got to connect to the source. If you're connected to the source, you don't need energy from anybody and you don't need conflict to try and get it. So that's the fight energy. So in fighting, people yell, they shout, they be aggressive, they can stomp, they can punch walls, throw glasses, whatever they do, right? That aggressive energy. But you're trying to control the other person. That's what you're doing. If you actually fight, and it's quite interesting because people quite often say that. They even say that you've got to fight a disease. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's about fighting anything. Because if you fight anything, you're having a conflict. See, people say you've got to fight cancer. You're actually asking to have a conflict, which is ridiculous. No, you love the cancer. Ask yourself why you create it. So it's not having any fights. Otherwise, you've got inner conflict. Now, when we talk about flight, remember flight was the second one. This is the second way that people react, and it's probably the way that I tended to react in my life. And by flight, we mean being aloof. And like, because I had angry, dominating people around me, right? So that was a conflict I had to deal with. And I thought I couldn't really deal with it. So my way was to withdraw, walk away, not talk to people, disconnect from them. But that still doesn't really address the underlying issue, which we're going to come and talk about in a minute. So that's the second way people become aloof. They're not present. They can just chill out. The third way is that you can freeze. Now, what I mean by freezing is that you comply. And quite often we probably did this as a child. You know, if you had angry parents or dominating parents, right, you just comply and shut up. But underneath all that, you're feeling really angry and sad and frustrated, whatever emotions you're going through. But you just shut up and comply. Be a good little boy, a good little girl. Yeah, put your hand up if you can relate to that. Yeah, totally. So it's like you're trying to pacify the situation. And it's quite interesting because this happens in Australia a lot. Australians don't tend to express their emotions as much as, say, Italians or South Americans or Spanish. I call it the big Australian lie. I'm okay, mate. And you say, how you going? I say, I'm okay, mate. You know, it's like they're not really totally sharing what they're really feeling because they're scared it might rock the boat or something. You know what I mean? Which if you say how you're feeling to someone in South America, they'll tell you their life story. You know what I mean? And they're not scared to share it. And they're not trying to control you, but they're just trying to just share what they're feeling. It's a totally different energy. So let's move on to how do we deal with conflict? This is the important question. This is over the page, if you've got your play sheet there. So how do you deal with conflict to create a harmonious life? This is really important. And we go to identify 3 essential things that you really need to do here. And it would be interesting to see whether this actually helps Penny. But anyway, this is not one of them. But the first thing you've got to do is not react. That's the first thing. If someone is angry around you, you cannot argue with an angry person because actually temporarily they're insane. They are. And you can't argue with an insane person. You can't. Penny's laughing, so you can obviously relate to that, right? So if you start to argue or shout with somebody, stop and walk away and reconnect yourself. Never get an angry argument with anybody. It never ever works. Because all you're both doing, if you're both getting angry, right? Who's doing the dishes tonight? Whatever, right? All you're doing is fighting for energy. That's what it's all about. It's not about the dishes. So you've got to stop and go back into your own space. And even you say to the other person, if they're getting angry, you say, look, this isn't a great time to talk about this right now, and I'm just going to go and have my own space. And you've got to reconnect yourself. Does that make sense? That's the first thing you got to do. Never react. Because I can tell you, if you start to react, whatever way, by fighting, by freezing, or by flight, any of those 3 things we've talked about before, if you react, you're in a power struggle. Yeah, whatever it is, you're in a power struggle. So that's the important thing. You don't react. Now, one of the essential things you've got to do, which really reflects what we talked about from before about the causes, is you've got to reconnect to your inner self. That's what you've really got to do. Because you know, if you are causing conflict in your life, you know that you've abandoned yourself. So you've got to connect to yourself. And that's why every day you've got to have rituals where you reconnect to yourself. Find your inner worth, meditate, right? Create that inner peace, which is what Kamala said right at the start. Because it's about reconnecting to who you are. It's about having peace with yourself. And the way you have peace with yourself is by you connect to yourself at a deep level. And, I've given you guys lots of exercise in some of the previous ones, like, doing an inner child connection, right? So just for those who weren't here last time, it's like your left hand and right hand penny. You just look up. Like your right hand is your male energy, and your left hand is a female energy. Everyone just do this for a minute. And inside of it, you put your inner child. So your left hand is your feminine energy, your mother energy. Your right hand is your masculine power animal energy, your warrior energy. I call it the love sandwich because you're in the middle, right? And inside, I want you to feel your wounded inner child. Who might have been felt they got judged for something when they're younger. And I want you to allow your inner child to feel being supported with that mother and father energy. This is like self-parenting. And as you're doing this, I want you to really breathe, and I want you to send love to your inner child from your heart. So I want you to breathe into your heart with love, and on the out breath, I want you to send love from your heart to your inner child in your hands. And just really love them for who they are. And love them for what they went through, all the drama they went through as a child to help you learn to where you are today. Penny's laughing. That's cool, isn't it, Penny? Yeah. I call it the love sandwich. Okay, we're going to do another exercise tonight. And this is another fun one. In this exercise, you're going to be a tree. Now, in this exercise, we're going to talk about termites and white ants. I call this the white ant problem. Right? Do you know what termites and white ants do? They eat wood. So this is what happens to people. It's like they've got white ants inside of them, and all their limiting beliefs eats them away. It's the same energy. And sometimes it's good to feel exercises because it's a way of feeling what's happening and feeling how you can get out of it. That's what's really important. Because most people cage themselves in their pain. So this is going to be a visualization. I'm going to talk you through it. So just experience it in whatever happens to you without judgment. Okay, so when you're ready, I just want you to close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. And I want you to imagine that you're your favorite tree. And my God, in Australia, we've got so many beautiful trees like gum trees or eucalyptus, or it could be a redwood tree, whatever it is, willow. Just imagine you're a beautiful tree, and I want you to send roots into the earth. And as you send roots into the earth, I want you to really feel the beautiful warmth of the earth. And as you're breathing in, I want you to imagine you're breathing up the earth energy through your roots up into your body. And you're feeling that beautiful connection to the earth as a tree. Because trees do get a lot of nutrients from the earth. And now I want you to imagine that as a tree, you've got all these beautiful leaves which open up and they're receiving the sun from above. This is like your connection to the higher dimension. So through your leaves, imagine the beautiful sun is shining on your leaves, and what the process of photosynthesis is actually sending beautiful love and light into your tree to give you energy. And I want you to feel these two things at the same time. So I want you to breathing in, feeling the earth energy coming up into your body as a tree through your roots. At the same time, feeling all the amazing sunlight energy coming into you through the leaves. It's like connection to the earth and connection to the higher dimension. And just really feel your worth as this big, beautiful tree. But now I want you to imagine that you've got termites and white ants which have come inside of you as the tree, and they're starting to eat away the inside of you as the tree, eating the wood. These are like your limiting thoughts and limiting beliefs about yourself. And as these termites, these white ants are eating the wood away inside of you, feel that you're getting weaker as a tree. And now imagine there's a strong wind coming up and there's rain, and you're now scared as the tree that you might actually fall over because you're feeling so weak, because the termites have eaten away a lot of the inner strength that you have inside. And you don't feel as strongly connected to the earth, and you don't feel as though you're getting enough energy from the sun. And this storm is like the conflict that you create in your life from not being strong inside. But now I want you to really imagine again now that you're a really strong tree. And you're so strong, or you really increase your vibration as the tree. So there's just not going to be no termites and no white ants. Just imagine that all the wood inside of you, as the tree, is there again. And it's even stronger than it was before. So really in the inside of your body, just feel the inside of the tree, just really that strength with all the wood, and just really feel your strong connection to the earth again. And really feel that strong connection to the sun. And even though there is a storm, there's a bit of a wind, there's a bit of rain, it doesn't matter because you feel very strong as a tree. And allow yourself to feel that wind blowing through your leaves, but know that you're very strong inside because you're connected to the earth and you're connected to the sun. Just feel that inner power of your worthiness as that amazing tree. Okay, so when you're ready, you can open up your eyes. Now you see in the chat room, I've just put in one of my favourite words, tremendous, tremendous. Trees mend us, right? So, would anyone like to share what they experienced? Or would you like, you can type it in, you can type it into the chat room, or you can put your hand up and share. Selena, you're laughing. What would you like to say? What happened to you, Selena?
Oh, hello there. Hi. I really enjoyed it. And when I was doing it as the tree, and then I was rejuvenating myself and becoming strong again,
Yeah.
I actually felt my body becoming a lot stronger and healthier and more energized. And
Yeah, cool.
yeah, my physical body,
The physical
which was
body,
quite interesting.
the physical body's laughing because it's really appreciating what you just did to know that you can access that strength. Because remember, that's our choice at any moment to reconnect to who we are, just like the tree. Yeah, well done. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no, it's good. Thank you.
Cool. Jade, I feel you want to say something.
Yeah, I've got a sense of, you know, if you build a strong foundation, being the earth, the roots into the earth, then you know you can grow taller as the tree and be closer to the sun or closer to the energy from the sun. So if you know, build that strong foundation and keep it healthy, then you can grow taller, sort of metaphorically, I suppose.
Of course.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
That was good.
That's one reason why I like redwood trees, because redwood trees are really tall.
That and my surname's Wood, so I've got to say that too.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. Camilla, Phil, you want to say something?
I've just typed it.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel that more power was given when I chose to reconnect stronger, lifted, and connected. Yeah. I remember that word connections coming into your space a lot. It's all about it's all about being connected. Penny, what did you experience?
I experienced a bit of anxiety when the termites and white ants came in. I thought, oh no, you know, this is not very good. And I thought if he cancels this whole, you know, creative visualization now, this is not going to be good. I'm going to have to sit here and figure this out. And then I, you know, when we decided to get strong and connect with the earth and source again, had source give me a nice green energy light. So that was really nice.
Cool.
Yes, so it was quite a good creative visualization. Thank you.
Yeah. Because we'll come to the other two in a minute. But the important point about that exercise is because a lot of our dramas are when we're attached to the being of the human form, attached to the human experience. We get caught up in conflict. But if we see ourselves as a multi-dimensional being, like we're connected to the earth and we're connected to the higher dimensions, it gives us strength, right? So it's really important that you've got to see yourself above the human form. It's really, really important. Yeah, because a lot of conflict happens in seeing us as a human. Yeah, so you've got to go above that, and that's why, like in that, if you do that tree exercise, you can reconnect to the earth and reconnect to the heavens to really be in balance. It's cool. Janine, would you like to share anything?
I love trees. I've got I do a lot of hiking, so
cool.
when you said we were going to visualize a tree, I immediately got, you know, quite excited. But it's funny, the first thing that popped into my head was an old willow tree that my grandfather used to have in his front yard. So I imagine myself the willow tree with the big sort of droopy leaves that used to give lots of shade, and
excellent.
It just made me feel very centered and very very at peace, and I like the part about drawing up energy from the earth. I could actually feel myself drawing up that energy, and when I exhaled, I could feel that I was sort of exhaling that out to the universe, and it just felt really nice. And I could feel the branches sort of reaching right out. So it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Well, I can really feel you are definitely connected to trees.
Yeah, I love trees. It's, you know, I'm quite often stopping, you know, when I'm out walking with people, and they'll think, where's Janine gone? And I've stopped somewhere and I'm just touching a tree, feeling its energy. Yeah.
And so that is a way that you can reconnect to who you are.
Yep.
You know, when you're feeling conflict, go away. You know, if someone gets angry, you go away. Just be a willow tree for a while and reconnect to that energy. And we're going to get out of that conflict. We're just going to be this amazing tree. You know what I mean? I can really see you as a willow tree. I love willow trees too, by the way. Cool. Excellent. Shai, would you like to say anything? How did you go?
Go away. Just
hey?
I have to stay in silence now.
Was it good?
Yes, very good.
Cool, excellent. Okay, thanks for that. So that's one thing. Remember I said there's 3 essentials that you think you need to do to really deal with conflict. And one of them is you've got to connect to who you are, your essence. And the tree is one way of doing it. Or, you know, like Camilla just said that she loves being a bird. That's her way of connecting to her essence. Connect to your power animal, right? Meditate. You've got to connect to your soul essence. That's really, really important. Because when you feel that self-worth inside of you, you're not abandoning yourself, and therefore you're not going to be having power struggles with people for energy. That's probably the most important one. Now, the second important point about is what we talked at the start, and that is about acceptance. It's accepting other people for who they are and not judging them. Because remember, conflict is caused by a lack of acceptance, resistance. Allow other people to be who they are. And if they want to make comments about you or whatever, that's based on them and it's got nothing to do with you. So if people make a funny comment to you on Facebook, you go, okay, whatever. I put ads on Facebook about shamanism and people call it demonic or whatever. And I go, whatever, you know what I mean? That's actually not about me, it's about them. Don't react to people. Accept people, allow them to say and do whatever they do, but no, it's not relevant to you. You don't have to get sad or angry or whatever. Allow other people, because remember, whatever other people are seeing, that's based on where they're at on their journey. And if they're going to see me demonic for some whatever reason, which is helping them, that's okay. It's got nothing to do with me. Allow them to have their own journey. That's really, really important. So let go of any expectations of how people should treat you or what they should say to you or whatever. Let go of expectations, because expectations causes conflict. Who knows what people are going to do and believe? You know what I mean? We're in a crazy world. You know, there's a lot of crazy beliefs, right? So let go of trying to control other people. That's what I'm saying. Because if you accept them, you don't try and judge them, blame them, or control them. And by control, I mean, for instance, trying to tell them, oh, you can't say that to me. Just hang on from that, your Patty will come to you in a minute. Yeah. No, just, you don't have to accept anything. Now, people are like that around you. You might walk away from them. And this is something that Selena said before. It's around, no, I don't have to hang around people that have got to judge me all the time. It's not what I'm supposed to do. It's about caring for yourself. And that's about finding those people around you who are supportive and in a similar vibration to you. It's like finding your own tribe. That's really important. Yeah. But at that same time, it is about accepting other people. By accepting doesn't mean they're right. It just means you're allowing them to have their own journey. Does that make sense? So let's come to you, Penny. What would you like to say? Can you unmute yourself, Patty?
There we go. Now we've got it. I was just going to say, in amongst my healing journey when it comes to controlling others,
yeah.
One thing that a lot of people forget is that we might not try and control them or what they do to us or their behaviour, but we might want to control how other people see us, which is still a version of control.
Absolutely, yeah.
So sometimes we need to remember, to connect to who we are, whether that, whatever that looks like in its raw form, and not worry about, I guess, controlling how you come across or whatever, based on, worrying about other people's judgments. Because I know that's where I was at. I was never trying to control the person that I was with.
Yeah.
But more trying to control what the outside world saw of our relationship, So we're amazing. We've got an amazing family. Yeah. So, that's what I was doing, kind of thing. So that's important to remember too. That's still a version of control.
Yeah. And that's really, really important for what the point I said before. Around, because I work a lot with very magical people, right? And most people think magical people are really crazy. And this is a big issue for a lot of healers who want to go out there and become a healer, because they're worried about, a bit as what Penny said, they're worried the world will see them as being crazy. And I give an example, like I had a 7-year-old student, I might have talked about her before, right? But she was telling her mother about her mother's brother who died 23 years ago, and her brother used to come into the cat and talk to her. And used to tell the 7-year-old everything about her mother's childhood, right? Now, her mother just totally judged her and said she's crazy, but she wasn't crazy, she was extremely magical. You know what I mean? You've got to accept yourself. And part of connecting to who you are is accepting who you are, accepting yourself. And don't worry, exactly what Penny is saying is you don't worry about what other people think about you. Because it's not a reflection of you, it's not, it's a reflection of them. Now, if you're coming into the world as a magical healer, working with energy and seeing different dimensions and playing with unicorns and whatever, right? Most people are going to see you as crazy. But who's really crazy? If you're connecting to multi-dimensions and people are living in a little delusionary lifestyle of materialism, who is the crazy one? So thanks for sharing that, Penny. That's really important. So the other important essential thing you've got to do, apart from accepting others, accepting yourself and connecting to who you are, the third important point is you've got to be willing to learn from your conflict. This is really, really important. You've got to be willing to learn. So this means, if someone gets angry with you, you might walk away and you go, okay, something's going on for me right now. You connect to who you are. You could be the tree or whatever it is, right? Connect to who you are. And then you ask yourself, if I'm feeling upset here, why am I upset? What's going on for me? If I'm worrying because someone's judging me on Facebook, what's really going on for me? It's not about them, it's about me. So you've got to go inside and do deep healing and saying, why am I being triggered here? What's triggering me? Why am I upset? What is it about me and my beliefs that are causing me to be upset here or causing conflict? That's what this is. The willingness to learn is going inside and connecting to the deep issue underlying the conflict. Because as I said at the start, it's never about the content. It's never about the dishes. you know what I mean? It's never. There's some underlying issue underneath it, which could be people wanting to get attention or wanting to get approval or wanting to get love, and they're trying to control the other person. That's usually what it's about. But you've got to go walk away, and the good word I'm going to share with you again, Camilla, it's all about connection. You've got to connect to the experience. What's really going on here? That's what you've got to ask yourself. What's the underlying energy here? Really connect to your emotions, connect to your energy of the experience, and you'll get the messages. It's all about connection. Does that make sense? So willingness to learn, I think that's the other important thing that's really important of how to deal with conflict. Because once you learn why you've created conflict because you're disconnected from yourself in some way, given what we said, right? The only reason you create conflict is because of self-abandonment. Now, when you understand why you're abandoning yourself and you heal that, and the more you connect to who you are, then you're not going to create conflict. So relating point to what Camilla said right at the start, one of her intention was to have more peace. Well, the way you got to do that is to have peace with yourself. Which goes back to the joke I said to Camilla at the start. It's about putting the pieces of yourself together again. And then you're at peace. If the pieces of you are apart, then you can't be at peace. It's like a joke. It's like a play on words. And when you are really connected to who you are, you're going to feel that power to speak your truth. And you're not going to worry about what other people say or respond. And you're going to say it from a loving space, not a controlling space. And it's about taking care of yourself. That's really, really important. Because sometimes with conflict, we walk away and we make judgments on ourselves and we go, what's wrong with me? Or I'm feeling really sad, I'm feeling really angry. No, you've got to care for yourself. You walk away and you go, how can I love myself in this moment? Write that point down, right? How can I love myself in this moment? How can I care for myself? And staying with someone in an angry argument is not taking care of yourself. It's a form of self-abuse. I'm never around angry people. I just walk away from them. So underlying this willingness to learn is be really clear with your intentions with your communication. Because sometimes it's not about the content. It's always about what are your intentions. If you've had this communication with somebody and it's turned out as a conflict, ask yourself, what was your real intention? Was I trying to control this person to get attention or approval or to avoid my pain? Trying to tell them how to act or how to behave so that I didn't feel the pain of me not loving myself. You've got to be really honest with yourself and take responsibility for what you're feeling and what your intention is in the communication. And that's why if you are getting into an argument with somebody, you'll walk away, you spend that time with yourself, reconnect to yourself, and be willing to learn. Why did I create this? What was triggered? What part of myself did I abandon that I need to reconnect to? And the more you learn from your conflicts, then you won't create it in the future because you've learned from it. As you know, based on the law of attraction, you only keep recreating things if you still need something to learn. That's cool. A lot of you are taking a lot of notes, which is really cool. Any comments on that and how to deal with conflict? Does that give you some ideas to go away with? So what I want you to do now is the 2 questions at the bottom, and then I want you to answer these, and we're going to go around and see what people say. So what's the main thing you learnt tonight? What's the biggest thing you learnt tonight? And what's the biggest change you're going to make in your life from tonight? Because hopefully you come to classes to learn something to change your life. And it could just be a willow tree or something, whatever it is, right? So let's just go around. I've got Penny on my picture here, so we'll start with you. So Penny, what's the biggest thing you learned tonight, and what change you're going to make in your life?
Biggest thing I learned, hang on, I'm just going to write down that last question, is that maybe there could possibly be areas in which I'm still self-abandoning, and
Sure.
I'm to connect to that space and work on that. That's a really important point that you've made. And what change am I going to make? Just that is just, really asking if something goes wrong, what component of me am I self-abandoning here to have this?
And I'm getting a message from the angels here. Like Camilla and I work with angels a lot. The angels are saying that you've got to do it in a fun way. So the way to do it is do that tree exercise and allow yourself, like what part of the tree is being affected.
Okay, excellent.
And it's going to give you a message as to what part of you you're disconnecting from.
Excellent. Look,
it will tell you. The tree will tell you. So when you feel this pain in the tree, just say, okay, what part of that is me?
Okay.
I just noticed you've got avocados on your outfit. Are they avocados?
Avocados and toast.
Oh, really? Cool. I love it. Avocados are very healthy, of course. Excellent. Great. Cool. Excellent. Good point. Your energy's actually changed tonight. Can you feel it? Yeah, you're different at the end of the night. It's really cool.
Yeah.
You're a really deep person. So thanks for coming. It's been great for that. We'll move to Jade. Jade,
Hello.
what did you learn tonight, Jade? What's the
Yeah, look, a few things I took out of it was well, you mentioned the fight, flight, or freeze. So freeze is still a reaction. So I sort of didn't realise that was still a reaction. So to freeze is to still react. That's something I took out. Conflict isn't about the content, but it's a bit more of a struggle of energies. So made me think a lot about that too.
Yeah.
And I liked how you described how the chakras relate to how certain inner conflicts affect you in different ways. That's
totally
makes sense as well. Yeah.
Once you understand chakras, you can get a really good connection of understanding of the energetic anatomy of the body. Yeah. Because as Penny shared, like she had some major trauma from her conflict. It has a major impact on your whole life. You know what I mean? It shuts down your whole body, basically. You know what I mean? And that's why people get very depressed, because they can't really exist. They can't really create.
Yeah, and certain pains or conflict, I suppose, in your body relate to different chakras being blocked. That's sort of something that interests me as well. Yeah.
And of course, if you're shutting down, if you freeze, which probably means you're not expressing yourself, you're probably closing your throat chakra. And I'm saying that because I can feel your throat chakra needs some work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got any crystals at home?
I've got one.
Yeah, that crystal tonight, after this, your body wants to put that crystal on your throat chakra.
Yeah.
And it's going to help you open up that throat chakra.
All right.
Yeah.
I will do that.
Yeah, cool. Enjoy the energy of you expressing your truth. Because I feel you, Jade, you know a lot, and you've learned a lot, especially since I've known you. You know, your awareness has increased quite dramatically. And I think there's a lot of things you know, and I feel the world needs you to share it. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
I can relate to that.
So enjoy sharing your energy and expressing it. And the other thing the universe is telling me is, imagine your throat chakra is a fun bird, because birds love to express themselves. So like mine's a galah. I love galahs because they make so much noise, right? Right.
Yeah.
So in my throat chakra, when I do a meditation in my throat chakra, I just imagine there's a whole lot of galahs in there.
Yeah, just causing a ruckus.
Causing a ruckus, expressing themselves.
Yeah.
Because when they're together, they don't care what people say or do. They just it's cool. That's why I love them, right? So connect to a bird that you really like, yeah. And when you feel the energy of that bird, have the crystal on your throat chakra, and it's going to help clear that chakra.
Okay, no problem. I'll do that later on.
And then you won't freeze as much, because you'll be willing to express yourself. Yeah, cool.
Yep,
thanks,
certainly
Jade.
makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. We'll go on to Camilla. Camilla, what did you learn tonight?
This self-abandon, that was very powerful for me. And also acceptance, like accepting other people on their journey and allowing them to honour their journey and not judging.
Yeah.
And taking that on board and remembering that it's their stuff that they're dealing with, not my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know what quite happens in conflict? People have this belief, I'm right and you're wrong.
Yes.
Don't they, right?
Yes.
But you know what the truth is? I am right and you're right.
Yep.
Because whatever other people are saying is relevant for their journey.
That's right. And it is about, the more stronger you are with your connection, then these ants and these termites can't affect your inner peace. Yeah. And that's what it's really about, is peace and love.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing that point. So when you guys do that tree exercise, just be so powerful as the tree that the termites can't even enter the wood.
Yep.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah. So thank you. It's very good. Enjoyed it.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Excellent. Shai, what did you learn tonight?
Yes, that you say that achieve each one come to us. with his own journey and without judgment. So it's something I try to work on, but the thing is, me personally, try to listen to the voice in my mind,
Right.
and if I see that's the person that's standing in the front of me start to have his own
Yeah.
say on me or try to put me down or judge me, or try to step back to go out of his. I don't want to judge him. Maybe I'm not, I don't know, in your level or other people level, but if I feel like the voice of judgment talking in my mind, so other voice say, go away, and I go away. I'm just don't want to be in this environment. I want to
I think what you've got to
attract positive environment.
do, yeah, great positive people, but also just have a way to express to those people. So if people say something to you, go, oh, thanks for saying that. It's actually not relevant for me, but I hope you go on the way and to learn something from it. I said that to someone the other day, and they go, what? They made some judgment out of me, and I said, thanks for sharing it. It's actually not relevant for me, but I hope you learn something from it, and I'm just going to go away and do what I'm doing. And they sort of, because they expected me to react to them, I just didn't react at all. I said, it's got nothing to do with me, but I hope you learn something from it. Yeah, that's cool. It's really important to know how to express that to people. Because we live in a world where people think they blame other people for how they're feeling and what's happening in their life. It's really important. You've got to know how to deal with those. Thanks for sharing that. Janine, what did you learn tonight, apart from being a beautiful willow tree? Is that the big thing you learned tonight?
No, well, I've learned how to do that visualization, and so I think that'll be really useful. And I'd be interested to actually see if you visualize being a different tree, if that sheds like a different wisdom or has a different feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I sort of, I found that quite interesting. And I think just sitting here listening tonight has made me sort of look at a situation with a family member that I walked away from a few years ago because they were trying to manipulate and control.
Yeah.
And once you sort of recognise that behaviour, it's hard, for 50 odd years they did it, and I didn't even realise they were doing it,
Yeah.
But then once you wake up and you see the behaviour, I just couldn't tolerate it anymore, because I felt like if I just put up with it, I was going to lose a sense of myself, which is kind of like that disconnection.
Yeah.
So I think I'll go back and I'll look at that situation and I'll see if I can learn a bit more from it, and
Cool.
Maybe I can mend that relationship in some way without compromising myself. I'm not sure. Yeah.
No, that's really cool. But relate to. I think that's a really good point. But relate to some of those questions I suggest you look at. Go inside and say, what was really happening in that connection with that other person? Where were you coming from? Where were you abandoned? Because if you're creating conflict with a person, there's something inside of you that you are abandoning, right?
Yep.
And the other point to remember, that even if you do some healing and you find you've learnt from that connection, it doesn't mean the other person wants to learn.
Yeah, I don't doubt that they don't want to learn.
And sometimes they might, but you've got to let go.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you've got to feel this helplessness. No, we can't control other people. And even if we change, it still doesn't mean you can have a harmonious connection with that person.
Mm.
Because they still might have got stuff that they're not willing to let go of. And that's okay. You've got to let them go.
And I think that's a part of, I really liked the way you said, about not, that's the other person's journey. You can't you can't interfere in their journey. That's their journey.
Totally.
And everyone's got a right to their own journey.
Yeah, acceptance is a really powerful word. But when we say we accept their journey, the important thing, Janine, I think what you're bringing up is to remind people, but that doesn't mean you sacrifice yourself around them and allow them to abuse you. No, you've got to honour yourself and not sacrifice yourself, which is about that's abandoning yourself if you do that, by complying or let them treat you in a certain way. No, you don't do that. No, that's about finding the power inside of you. But anyway, go and play with different trees. See, because I love different trees. Like, I'm very powerfully connected to the redwood tree, which has actually got a lot of North American energy in it.
Quite excited to do that, but the redwoods are beautiful. They're very. I know what you mean. Very powerful. Yeah.
But I also like the eucalyptus tree, and I also like the willows, and I like gum trees. And it's like you can be the different trees and feel the different energies.
Yeah.
Just like different animals give us different vibrations, you can choose to be different trees, and they might help you connect to a different part of who you are. Oh, I can see you. You love trees. My God, you really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really.
Well, I love all nature, but trees and birds, and always picking up feathers, and
Cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Yep. Thank you.
Selena, I think you're the last one. Selena, what did you learn tonight?
So I really liked the 3 ways to how to deal with the conflict.
Cool.
And especially like reconnecting to yourself and reconnecting to your inner child.
Yeah.
And I like the part around acceptance of yourself and accepting other people's opinions and beliefs and stuff is about them. It's not about you, right?
Yeah.
And I liked the bit about where am I like self-abandoning and stuff like that. Like, where are you abandoning yourself at times like that?
Cool.
I think that's really good to ask that question and what actions you can take.
Cool. Fantastic. It's really great to hear that all you guys have got some really deep stuff out of tonight. It's really cool. So we'll leave it there. Thank you guys for all coming tonight and participating. Go away and have fun with that and see how you go with your interactions. Because if you can create peaceful, harmonious interactions with people in your life, it's going to change your life totally. And as Carmela said right at the start, it's all about it's about creating peace for yourself. But to create peace for yourself, you got to have peace with yourself. Okay, guys, we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Enjoy the night and really celebrate yourself for spending this time to enlarge your journey. And we'll see you next time. See you, guys.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Paul.
My pleasure.